Hey guys, how are you? I hope you're all doing very well. This afternoon I'm going to be doing something a little bit different. This is still going to be a movie review, but recently I attended the 10th annual Lantern Film Festival here in Canberra, so I was really excited to see it. Unfortunately, I could only see 5 films out of the possible 12. I had a lot of other things going on, so I couldn't catch all of them, but the films that I did catch, I had an Argentinian film, Colombian, Venezuelan, Paraguayan, and Uruguayan. So those are the 5 films I saw, and I wanted to share what my experiences with each of these films. So I'm going to rank them, 1 being the best film, and then 5 being the less of the rest. I'm not going to say it was any of them were terrible films, because this year they were quite impressive. But the fifth film is going to be the film that I didn't feel as good as the others, obviously, and then I'm going to go up to my number 1. So to start off with, we're going to go to Paraguay for number 5. Now, this fifth ranked film was released in the year 2006, spoken in the Spanish language with English subtitles. Actually, it was spoken in the Guarani language, which is a different language they speak in the native areas of Paraguay. So it's got English subtitles, released in the year 2006, directed by Paz Encina, and this movie is called Paraguayan Hammock. Now, Paraguayan Hammock is set in the 30s in Paraguay, in this very remote area of Paraguay, and it's during the brutal war of Chaco. So they were at war with the Bolivians, and apparently this cost a lot of people their lives. So you've got 2 elderly peasants who are waiting for their son to return home from the war. And so they're constantly talking to each other. The mother is very negative. She feels that the son has died because the son should have been home by now. But the father is keeping up the positivity. And basically the whole film is them trying to come to terms with their feelings. There's a lot of mental chatter, and there's a lot of things in there that cause a lot of doubt, but at the same time cause a lot of optimism as well. And they're also praying for rain because it's a very drought-stricken area. So there's a lot of things that are going on in a very, very bleak film. And whether or not the son does arrive home, that's something you're going to have to find out for yourself, because that's as far as I'm going with my synopsis. Now, my thoughts on this Paraguayan entry. This one had actually got awards at the Cannes Film Festival, because each time these films come up, there's the ambassador of the country will introduce it. And this ambassador, I forget his name, he said that this one had got a lot of hype. It won awards at the Cannes Film Festival. It also won awards in Belgium. And so it was a big hit in Europe. So for that reason, I was really psyched about this one. I thought I was onto a gem. After seeing it, I can sense that, yeah, it is a very artistic film. It's not a film of the traditional sense, and I can see the merit in it. I mean, it is a very bold attempt from Paz Encina. I thought her script was lacking a little bit, and that's ultimately what lets the film down. Is basically all it is 2 people in a hammock for the majority of the film, and they're just talking to each other. And so you don't get any outside information. You don't get an insight into the beauty of the Paraguayan landscape, because it's all set focused on these 2 people who were just not that interesting. And I can understand it's about mental chatter. It's about all the negativity that goes through your mind. It's basically trying to combat that with optimism. And I can understand that. I go through that a lot. The mental mind chatter that just continuously goes on and on and on. That's what this film has. And I thought it was a really interesting idea, and I thought it was a very bleak film, is that it was very dark, it was very dull, it didn't capture any beauty. It was basically a depressive state. The depressive state of mind after you feel that nothing is good is going to happen, that it's not going to rain, that it's not going to help the farm, that his son's not going to come back because he's being killed. All of these really negative thoughts, and then the father of the couple, he says basically, yes, he is going to come home. Yes, it is going to rain. Look at the clouds. It's thundering. Of course it's going to rain. And all of that is back and forth between these 2 people. And the only outside people you get are voiceovers. So you don't actually see anybody else but these 2 characters. And that is ultimately the problem. As I said, it's a very artistic film, and I can appreciate the different sort of approach to the movie, but the script was just not that interesting. You knew nothing about these peasants. All you knew about them is that they were hoping for rain, that they were hoping for their son to come back, and that was it. You didn't know whether they were likable. You didn't have any character attributes to them to make them people. So it felt like you just went outside and you're joining into a conversation of 2 completely random people, and you don't really care because you don't know them. So you don't get the full emotion that Paz Encina wanted you to get. And I will say that the script, because it is mental chatter, it feels very repetitive. It feels very uncontrolled. And that, to me, is the biggest downfall, because a film like this to work has to have a very strong dialogue. And it felt very weak to me. It just felt like it was repetitive, and it got irritating after a while. And then that is ultimately the downfall of the film. It is an irritating film. It's a tedious film. It doesn't really go anywhere. It's just about these 2 faceless people who you don't know about, complaining about, the dog barking, not raining, the sun not coming back. But I would have liked to see the relationship more with the son. You don't get to see the son. and basically what you get to see of him is basically these peasants remembering his voice. So you don't know what the sun was like. You don't know what these two peasants are like. You just don't know what anything is like. Therefore, you don't care. And ultimately, what happens is it brings the whole film down because it is a very artistic film. It's a very static camera, so it doesn't move around at all. There's only very limited scenery. So all those ingredients can make a very memorable experience. But unfortunately, this is going to be remembered for all the very wrong reasons. So unfortunately for that, I can only give Paraguayan Hammock 2 stars. 2 stars because it dared to be different, but unfortunately it's just not that interesting to capture your attention or make it last in the memory. So that is going to be my number 5. My number 4 will be coming very soon, so stay tuned. So hopefully you enjoyed it. Until next time, keep watching movies, and I'll see you later.